Hey guys, welcome back to another Chinaman podcast video. Today it's just me and Ryan, but we'll be previewing the upcoming Australia versus West Indies tour. So that's consisting of five 2020s and a few one days as well. We'll probably just focus on the T20s with the upcoming World Cup. Yeah, we'll ramble a little bit about these two squads and uh, yeah, may as well just get into it.
All
Uh,
right. All
okay,
right. I'll share my screen.
yeah,
The
so
strength.
obviously the Australian team is missing a lot of players like Warner, Smith, Maxwell, Stoinis, I believe, Daniel Sams, and Kane Richardson. I think that's all of them. But yeah, it's still really important for these guys. So I'll Ryan, you want to start off? Who do you reckon? Who do you have opening?
Um, I got Finch and Wade.
Yeah, you see,
Yeah.
I went differently because I think Wade needs practice where he's going to be used for the World Cup if he was to play. So that's assuming Smith is fit, assuming, you know, the rest of the guys are there. And that keeper spot will be at number five, in my opinion. That's why I don't have him opening. So instead I have Finch with Philippi.
Okay. That does make sense, but
Yeah. But I can see Wade batting anywhere really. Because like he's
we'll go into a bit later.
yeah,
But
yeah. Okay. We'll just quickly rattle this through and then yeah.
yeah. So 3 and 4, I got
We could do
Philippi
three to
and
six, I reckon. 3 to 6,
uh,
yeah.
3 to 6. I got Philippi.
Well, I said 3 to 6 and then you you deleted it. As in, like, you
Okay.
midway through Philippines, and you just went back.
Yeah. Philippi, McDermott,
Yeah,
Enriquez,
yeah,
Mitch Marsh. Yep.
yeah. So we have the same players, just in different order. So I have McDermott, Enriquez, Wade, Marsh.
Your logic makes sense. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna argue with that.
Yeah,
Also got a feeling the last 7 to 11 will be the same.
probably. Oh, I got Agar, Stark, Zampa, Hazelwood, and then the last one. It's a toss up between a few, but I'm gonna go with Meredith.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any real surprise there. This
yeah,
definitely seems like Australia's best lineup for this series.
yeah. So there's been some talk about three spinners, but I don't reckon it's like I don't think there's much point. Like there is a point, but like I think Meredith or whoever is the third seamer will do just as well as that third spinner would. So yeah,
Not just that, it's just that like for the World Cup itself, like are we gonna ever play three spinners? And if we play another spinner, then that deprives a fast bowler of that role.
yeah, that's
And we
interesting.
need,
Would you say that you could say these conditions are more spin friendly even than like the UAE?
yeah, definitely. If you look at the last series, like spin played a huge part between West Indies and South Africa.
Yeah. Yeah, we can get into that matchup soon. So I guess we can just rattle the names or rattle through the logic. So obviously Finch, he was a little bit rusty as like recently, but then he came back, I believe. Sorry guys, the New Zealand series seems like a very distant memory right now.
I
But
mean, yeah, he got three score. Like his first two, I think, were pretty bad, and then
yeah,
the rest of the innings were pretty solid.
yeah, I remember his one innings. He was like on like 50 or something in the last over. Then he hit like three sixes or something.
Yeah, that's when Australia was in trouble, though.
Yeah. Um, Philippi, bit of a dasher. I have him opening because yeah, like I said about Wade, and I think he's the next best opener, and he's done well in the practice games. Um, You have him at 3. Do you think there's much difference of him at 3 and opening?
No, there isn't. I think the real difference between our lineups is like the thinking behind it. I think you're more orientated toward
You
and
cut
if
out. I didn't hear what you said.
play.
Yeah, you cut out for me.
All right, so yeah, so what I
I
was
think you're going
saying,
to say orientated towards the World Cup. That's what I believe you're going to say.
yeah, yours is. I said yours is orientated towards the
Yeah,
World Cup. Mine's more towards winning the actual series.
yeah, fair
Is that
enough.
you'd argue?
Yeah,
Yeah, my lineup would be better suited to the series.
I
The
think
interesting
all
part.
those that whole top 5, so not including Mitch Marsh, is pretty malleable, I'd say, or whatever the fact flexible.
Yeah,
I just reckon Enriquez or 4 or 5. I reckon I don't know about 5. I feel like you want him in the middle overs, like working away. Um, and then McDermott can work anywhere in the top 4. So it'll be interesting. I think all those guys have played for Australia, so it's not too new for them. But it feels like none of them have ever really nailed themselves down, other than Finch, obviously.
yeah. Even then, we might talk about this later in the video in regards to Australia's prospects at the World Cup, but
Yeah,
there are question marks over like what we want, what Australia would want from Finch anyway. Like, do we
yeah,
want him to go to become more of a dasher, or do we want him
yeah.
to continue adopting that like anchor role?
Yeah, I think in this series, looking at those guys, Finch would probably have to hold fort because he's the best player, I'd say, in that
Yeah,
batting lineup.
definitely, definitely.
And there'll be a bit of nerves with the other guys for sure. Um, just looking at there's 2 others that could be potentially here that we both don't have. So Carey, obviously, um, I think he's definitely slipped down the ranks in T20s.
Yep, definitely.
And then Ashton Turner, who's probably picked as a specialist finisher player. In my opinion, he's a bit washed a little. I don't know. He's not too good
I
anymore.
think I think we can both agree that he's a little overrated.
Yeah,
If we look back at Big Bash,
yeah.
like
He's
Big
not
Bash
even.
is
Yeah. In Big
for
Bash.
Australian. Go on, go on, go on.
Oh, sorry. You go.
Yeah, for Australian players, like Big Bash is the standard,
Yeah.
right? And if you're averaging like mid 20s and you're meant to be one of the best players in your team, then it's terrible.
I was gonna say, like, for Perth, realistically, he should be stepping up as a leader, but he still bats at like 6 or whatever, and he doesn't really take it
Exactly.
on. He doesn't take it on, and I get maybe he bats 6 in BBL. Let's pick him as a 6 for Australia, but he's not too. He peaked in Mahali, and yeah, downhill from there.
Exactly. And if you think about like potential spots for that number 6, there's just so many options now. Like, yes, back in the day, Ashton Turner was the guy. Like there was no one really having that role that could finish the game quickly. But now we have many more players that can play that role.
So I'd say 6 is linked to 7 because 7's going to be a lock in the form of Ashton Agar.
Yeah.
Not only for this series but in the World Cup, I'd say. For sure, his bowling is really good, and his batting is still he needs to work on it. He knows has to work on it, but realistically, he's going to be the 7, I'd say.
Yeah.
And which means 6 in this series is between Marsh and Dan Christian, and then you'd add Stoinis in there as well.
Yeah.
Thoughts on Dan Christian's potential return after, I don't know, 4 years at least?
Well, there's 5 T20, so I think he will play, just judging by like his performances. But whether he's gonna be in that World Cup squad, hard to say. There's just so many options
He's
within that
really
role.
knocked the door down, to be fair to him.
Yeah,
Everyone always goes on about how many titles he's won. Like, as for every BBL game, they're like, oh, what teams have he played for? Like that. Yeah, he did really well. I remember I refused to ever get him in fantasy, but he did very well in fantasy. He's done it for the Renegades and the Sixers, and he's won those 2 titles recently. He could be a specialist, like number 6, because Marsh has potential. Like, I think I'd say you and I rate Mitch Marsh. Yeah, like
yeah, definitely right, Mitch Marsh.
yeah, I rate him in white ball a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
same. Yeah,
but if he doesn't perform, Christian could easily leapfrog, and Stoinis might be unlucky here. He didn't want to go on this tour, and he might almost be. I wouldn't say he's forgotten, but if those two do really well, it's almost too hard for him to come back. I'd say, arguably.
There's also Daniel Sams as well.
Yeah, and Sam's. I think Sam's will get us lock. Will get a squad position as an extra bowler, and then if he plays, he could. If he play 6 or 7, it could work. But I don't know. We'll see with
Yeah.
that. Moving into the quicks. There's a lot of inexperience, I'd say. Even inexperience for Hazelwood and Stark, you'd argue.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
Yeah. It's not the same Stark that we all think of. He has a lot to prove still.
It's just like back in the day, he'd take a lot of wickets with the new ball because he'd be able to swing the ball in at pace. Now it seems like he can't generate that same sort of swing. So he seems to be just leaking a lot of runs with no added benefit of taking wickets.
To be like, Stark will knock him over up top, then bring up the end, and get a few more.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
now, if he doesn't get those wickets, he just seems like the bowler team's target, which is kind of like funny, like how that's happened. And then obviously Hazelwood, he can be that. Okay, if we say in the context of the World Cup, right, Cummins would be of 100%, no doubt, one of them.
Yeah.
You'd still say Stark, probably 90%. You'd still say, and then the third spot, there's like 5 options.
Probably. I'd say Hazelwood's still in the front running.
Yeah, I'd say Hazelwood's
75%.
Top 2, yeah, I agree. Based on pedigree, and his skill, like he's obviously talented. I believe neither of them were in the New Zealand series. I can just check to make sure.
No, they weren't. They weren't.
They've got a chance to be the leaders because no Cummins and no Kane Richardson, who was one of the leaders before. And in the third position, I said there's a few options. So there's Berendorf, Wes Agar, and then we've both gone with Meredith. I think Meredith's the most exciting out of them, but Berendorf would probably not be too far behind, I'd say.
The problem is like Berendorf and Stark. I don't know why in my head that's a bad thing, but it just is.
It worked against like England in the World Cup, to be fair, like that one time.
Yeah, but as a plausible option for the World Cup, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'd say like if Stark gets injured, then Berendorf will probably play.
Yeah. There's also Ty. Sorry. I don't know what's the obsession with Ty. Like,
yeah, I know.
He's just not it. Like T20 is his specialist format, and he's just not even that good.
Remember the whole summer, the Australian commentators were hyping up the fact that he's increased his pace to like over 145, 140s, and then he didn't fuck all.
Like he can be good. Like he got the like top wicket take on the IPL one time, like a few years ago, and he has all like how many variations, but he's just not too predictable still. Even with those variations, he's too predictable and he's not that good.
I think just the batting's like caught up to his bowling. Now everyone's bowling the same variations.
I'd say
I think that's just it.
He's actually probably the most experienced T20 bowler right now in that squad. I think Agar's there more for like just a bit of experience with the boys. I don't think he'll play. Maybe he might. And then
5 T20s, to be fair. Like, I think he might play.
To be fair, they're meant to play 5 here, then 5 against Bangladesh as well. So you never know. And I believe they have Ellis as well as a reserve.
Ellis is definitely there for the boys.
Yeah, Ellis and Sanger are there to just chill and like get the boys on tour vibes. Just get used to it. And who else? So that's everyone
as well, isn't it?
And then Swepson and then obviously Zampa. So I may as well talk about it now, but Zampa's going to have a huge series against this West Indies team, 100%, because look at Bryce Shamsi and Hasaranga. They were unplayable, and Zampa's better than both of them. So
yeah,
that's good to watch.
So yeah, for the World Cup, like no doubt, Jamp is a lock. Like there's no over the past 12 months, he's
100%.
been insane.
I was just thinking the other day, like you know how Lion just came in for Zampa, and like now if you think about it now, like how did that happen? Like in the 2019 World Cup, like Zampa since then has been so good. But to think that it wasn't that long ago where Australia just shut themselves and like we're dropping Zampa.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, I remember that.
Like yeah, like Nathan Lyon played like the last 4 or 5 games in that World Cup, which is weird to think now. Oh, you wouldn't
Now
have
stop.
T20s, but
Every baller, every batter used to target Zampa. Every batter just targets Stark.
yeah,
It's
true.
really weird.
Yeah, so Swepson, I said this before, but I'm more biased to Sanger than Swepson, but like yeah, Swepson still he's all right. Um, I think long term though, the thing is I think Swepson's like the same age as Ampras anyway, so he'll just forever be his like kind of understudy.
Yeah, unfortunately, you'd hate to see that.
Yeah. I think they both played against India, but that was because Agar was injured, so they went Sams and then played two spinners. But yeah, I guess that just depends on
I
the
think
form.
Swepson's future would be more in red ball than white ball, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, he has a huge 2022. You've seen Australia's schedule, right?
No, actually.
Oh, for the World Test Championship, Australia's playing Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and India away. So
Oh yeah, yeah. Zampa, not Zampa, Lion and Swepson.
yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much all the Aussie boys. Um, yeah, most of them probably a lot of them will probably be in the squad because I assume they're taking bigger squads for the World Cup because COVID. But then a lot of them will be pushing for the 11. I'll go through West Indies and then we can go back to Australia. Yeah,
Yeah, we discussed it earlier. Our West Indies team are pretty much this. I think the same.
yeah. West Indies is interesting. I will go through and then I'll say like what I'm thinking. But yeah, I assume we have the same. But so actually, I've gone a little bit different to what they currently do, just because it's my opinion, and I think eventually they'll do this. So obviously Lewis is opening, but I actually have Gale opening with him, not three.
So right now they have Fletcher, right?
Yeah, but I'd go Lewis and Gale because then I'd still play they still have plenty of other batters because they have Puran, Hetmeyer, Pollard.
403.
Yeah, or I don't know between Puran and Hetmeyer who's more number three.
Well, I prefer hit my at 3.
Yeah, I'll go Hetmeyer then. Yeah, that's fine. Pollard, and then into the Russell, Holder, Allen, and Bravo. I'd say there's like those guys. Everyone who I mentioned would surely always play. Like those are like their T20 superstars. And then the last two positions kind of vary, but I go with Cottrell and Hayden Walsh Jr.
To be fair, though, I don't know why Cottrell would be a controversial pick because I can't really think of anyone that would compete with that level.
Yeah, they have like funny enough, they have like Fidel Edwards, who's like 39. Like you just see
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
We just see their squad. I think they have O'Shane Thomas as well. He's okay.
They're okay, but I'm just thinking back to I know it's a different format, but 2019 World Cup, the
Yeah, I
IPL
feel
that
like
they lost.
yeah, I haven't really looked at their stats too much.
Like Cottrell's been decent.
Cottrell seems like the best. Like he plays IPL. They
Yeah.
also have McCoy. He's played a bit recently, I think.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think he's been okay.
I think
To be honest, he'd probably start over Cottrell, just judging by what they said, like what they have.
yeah, I had doubts about Bravo, but he was like the best bowler in the last series. So
Yeah.
what are your changes to this team? Or is yours the same?
Well, no, mine would be pretty much that's exactly how I'd line them up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think right now, I guess we'll talk about West Indies a little bit. So right now, Gale's at three, but I think eventually he'll have to go to number two. Because like, who would you say drops out of this team if you want to play like Fletcher? Like Fletcher's not even that good.
First is not good, so I
And
wouldn't play
Simmons,
him in the first place.
Landell Simmons or whatever. He's okay, but he's kind of inconsistent as well. And like
On
I think,
form, you'd say, well, it can't be poor on because he's keeping, but it'd be him. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, because of his form, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Gale recently he takes like 10, 15 balls to get in as well. It's like
Yeah.
surely you have him opening.
Well, if it's not poor on, it'll be Hetmeyer, realistically, because Lewis is a really good T20 player.
Yeah, he's actually still good after a
Yeah.
long time. That that like beef in the middle, Pollard, Russell, Holder, that's destructive, and they can all bowl.
Yeah.
Um, they've used Russell weirdly. They've used him as like kind of someone to hold like the ship together sometimes. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, I saw that. I've
yeah,
seen like he moves up the order, up and down the order
yeah,
a bit.
yeah. Obviously, he's not captain anymore, and yeah, that Bravo doesn't really. He's not really a batter in this team at all. Dwayne Bravo.
I mean, he doesn't need to be like
Yeah,
they bat all the way up to bloody Allen,
Alan, he's okay
like
as well.
decently already.
Um, first, this might be controversial, but like, even though West Indies is number seven in the world, whatever, and everyone everyone acknowledges they're good, right, and that they'll be contenders. I actually think they're becoming overrated. Like they, when you watch them bat, they just try to slog their way out of trouble. And
Yeah,
it doesn't work all the time. They literally lost to one of the weakest South African teams.
that's why they need like a Shea Hope sort of player,
Yeah,
just like tick it around a bit. Like
exactly.
because
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, like Hitman Puran, when they tick it around, it's not because they're trying to, they're just hacking it and it's not going where they
they
want
have
it.
no choice. Yeah,
Yeah. Like they have the tools to succeed, but probably a little bit under par so far.
and their bowling as well is a big problem.
Yeah.
I'd say
I
there's just
remember,
no.
sorry, yeah, you're right.
They're all sort of like holding bowlers.
Yeah.
You got
Agree.
like
Mine,
there's nothing going. Like Australia, you got genuine like wicket takers, and you got genuine bowlers that are exciting. With the West Indies, like
yeah.
they
I
bowl
mean,
like 130, 135. They hit a hard length, an occasional slower ball, but apart from that, like
yeah, I agree. I mentioned Bravo was in good form, but like he's still not. He hasn't been a genuine bowler for a while, like in the IPL.
yeah,
Same with Russell. Pollard barely bowls. He's only started bowling again now. Holder can bowl, but he's much better in tests than T20s.
yeah.
They're still
Well,
looking for
he's like Cottrell in my opinion. He can bowl really well with the new ball, like back
yeah,
end.
yeah,
But then I guess that's where like players like Bravo come into play and
yeah. I guess
Russell
they
because
want to
they
bowl
can,
like Bravo and Russell at the death.
yeah, yeah.
They're still looking a quality spinner. Like Allen's a bit of just a all rounder right now. Like he's not a genuine.
Yeah, he's like a shitter version of Agar, really.
Yeah. I don't know if they want to go into Ryan eventually. That'd be more of a nostalgic pick, but I don't think he's actually
Yeah.
that good. But they might go
He's
that.
lost his touch, definitely.
Yeah. Um, just looking at their squad, that's basically the main bulk. Then they have, yeah, we said Fletcher and Simmons. Um, I guess now relating back to this series, so who's gonna who's gonna win this series, you reckon? Ryan?
Australia.
Yeah,
I think it'll be close, but Australia will win. I think there'll be like one or two games where the West Indies absolutely demolish us, but we'll win overall.
yeah, I'd say same 3-2. Even though the Australian team is really like inexperienced and stuff, I still think they might have more nerve, which is funny. But yeah,
Yeah.
because the
I
West.
remember we talked Yeah, I remember we talked about this earlier. Like the West Indies, they need like two or three players to fire, and then they've got 200.
Yeah, they only need two or three players to do well. If Russell has faced 20 balls, he's probably made like 40. So
Yeah, exactly.
um, but yeah, What I said that they slogged their way out of trouble, right? So it doesn't work all the time. Like Shamsi and Hasaranga, their stats are so good. Even Dhananjaya, yes, he got hit for six sixes, but the over before that he got a hat trick.
Yeah.
It's just like
It's
it's just gonna be one of those where like yeah, there'll be sixes and then someone will get out. Like it's just gonna be
yeah.
all over. Should be good to watch. Um,
Just trying to think. In terms of key matchups,
yeah,
obviously it's spin versus the West Indies as a
yeah,
whole.
spin versus that whole team.
But
Yeah,
from
maybe Australia's like Marsh and whoever's at five trying to go after Bravo and Russell or whoever's bowling those death overs.
I'm just thinking, there's really nothing to gain for both sides. Like it's
Yeah.
just like a feel good factor. You know what I mean? Like it
Yeah,
just players like getting into form. With the West
yeah.
Indies, if
I kind of agree. Yeah, yeah. Like West Indies, this will be their team. They're not going to make many drastic changes.
yeah,
I think they're playing like this plus another series before the World Cup.
if
But
they lose 5-0,
but it's so
uh,
okay. You know how like they obviously regathered the gang, like Gale and whoever. But like, what if they just get smacked now before the World Cup? Do they be like, shit, we gotta bring some young guys in, or do you think they'll ever consider that?
I think there'll be young guys included in the squad anyway.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah, like
think
it's funny when I look at the squad right now. So right now the backups are Fletcher and Simmons. They don't even like they've been around for like 10 years themselves.
yeah, then
Who are the
I
who
don't
are the, who are the other people? Are these guys blocking the talent? Like who else is there?
yeah,
Ricky
but
Oswald or something. I don't know.
I don't know. Like whenever you think like West Indian good T20 player, it's always a hitter. That's the
Yeah.
problem. Like with
To
every
be
other
fair,
team, there's always a
there was
mixture.
one guy who held the fort for them, and it was really good. Marlon Samuels. He was very good in that.
Yeah, I agree. Mark
Like
Samuels.
he got like two World Cup man of the matches, I think, or something. World Cup final man of the matches. Like he's good. Um, I think this is another good thing about this series is Australia playing West Indies again. Like we never get to play West Indies. I don't know why. Like I think I sent this before, but the first time since 2014 World Cup that they're playing a 2020 against each other.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
We haven't played them in tests since like 2016 or something.
When Vogue just like got
Yeah,
that huge average.
yeah, and one days as well. We never play them. I think Australia should play them more from like a financial point of view. Like it could help West Indies out a lot. Like they're struggling. I guess
Yeah,
Australia have kind of like that elite mindset where they only want to play good teams. I feel like.
yeah. I think that's the only problem. That's the main issue, like the financial issue. Like Australia just wants to play England and India like every
Literally,
year.
like we never play West Indies, we never play Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. Like I know people make fun of India, like Kohli stat pads against those guys, whatever. But like it's actually good for the other teams that they're playing. India,
Yeah,
a good team.
exactly.
So hopefully there's no fans, but like hopefully this generates some income. Um, all right, should we talk about the World Cup now a little bit
Yeah,
bigger?
I was just thinking. Yeah, so in terms of like how we relate the Australian team to this Australian team from this series to the World Cup, like what do you think is going to happen from this series if
All
we
right.
assume that if we don't assume form?
Okay, so you want to write next to my team, like do another team?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Wait, I'll do another.
yeah. So if I had to say right now what our team is, so I'd say Warner and Finch are locks. Um, number three, I'm actually not sure because we don't know about Smith yet.
So yeah, okay.
And then I'll just put that for now. Question mark Maxwell, and then two question marks. I'd argue. Then Agar, Cummins, Stark, question mark, Zampa. Yeah. So would you
So
agree with those right now?
yeah, those are certain locks, I'd say, at this point.
Yeah. So now if we compare those positions to the current team, right? I mean the current as in the West Indies squad. So number 3 position. I'll start. So if you guys haven't seen, so Smith recently said he's not sure about his fitness. He wants to play the World Cup, obviously. It's a huge thing, but the Ashes is always at the back of his mind because that's where that's the biggest series in the cricket, and also that's where he makes like all his runs. Um, uh, the funny thing is, people might like I know. Oh, I don't know if there are fans watching, but Indian fans might say, "Oh, Smith is not even that good in T20s anyway. Like, who cares?" But he is a miss. He's a big game player. First, I'll just question top of my head. I don't know. We just roll with it. Labuschagne as a replacement. Smith, thoughts?
Definitely. I think Australia will 100% consider it because they're the same model player, and Labuschagne's in seriously good touch.
Yeah. Yep. Labuschagne, the way he's going right now, I feel like all cricket is just cricket to him. Like that's the way he got into the one day team, arguably, and he's done okay. And in T20s, all of a sudden he's smashed it in the BBLs with the ball somehow. Smashed it a little bit with Glamorgan, I think. Um, so he could work. The only thing is, so we everyone will agree, Water and Finch kind of maybe not at their best right now. Other than the one days against India, but just generally speaking, they just don't feel like the same fearless, aggressive, like carefree players anymore, which forced them to go in their shell. And yeah,
Yeah, so say arguably we have three anchors at the top, which we definitely don't want. So one of the players has to give. And it seems that like the power play is huge, so important. Like if you don't score runs in a power play against a team such as England, which go hard through the whole innings, you lose out on so much.
yeah,
So I think Warner definitely has to take that aggressive role. He's done it in the past. I don't know why he's all of a sudden
yeah,
just anchored a
yeah,
bit more, but he's always been so good at taking bowling attacks apart from the
yeah. I
start.
know. Yeah, I mean, we like one like just thinking. I think the other day I rewatched his international debut. Like far out, he was good.
He was so good. Like back then, everyone clowned him because obviously he was on the test scene pretty quickly from the T20. So
Yeah.
it was like, and it was a
But
very like new
he can't
format. But if you look at his hitting, it's insane.
like off the field, whatever aside, like Warner or on the field, whatever. He
Yeah,
Warner's quality. We need him back to the way he was. Even his Hyderabad form went to shit. He got dropped as captain, arguably unfairly, and then dropped from the team. And then yeah, it's just he needs a lot going for him. Maybe that's him taking this series off could be good for him just to mentally.
yep.
Re,
The
re,
main problem
yeah,
with his stint at Hyderabad was his strike rate,
yeah.
which is like going to be our problem as well if he doesn't change it. Like,
I mean, yeah, strike rate is so huge in T20s. Like, I'm starting to think like a 40 of 30 is almost not even worth it nowadays. Like, you'd rather a 30 of 20 than a 40 of 30.
yeah, definitely.
Um, and then the other options are number 3. So one way I think they could go is because obviously there's been like a keeper conundrum, as in like Australian keepers all batting the top. We're trying to force them to bat lower, and it's just not working. So if there's no Smith, how about we just put our keeper up there, which means either Wade or and then I had an out of the box suggestion, which was Philippi.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. Um, I think Carey maybe, but I
I
don't know.
think when you think about Kerry, you're thinking about him being behind Wade and Philippi. So
Yeah.
is that
Um, in this series, yeah, I think one of them would probably be batting 3 or McDermott. McDermott could well be in with a shout. Like it's not too late for him as well. But realistically, between those two, yeah,
I think it also depends on this series as well. If McDermott like blasts away, if McDermott gets three big scores like 70 plus or
yeah.
something like that.
I mean, when
They'll
McDermott goes
start-
big, he goes big. Like,
yeah.
I just had a random thought now. They tried it when Smith was injured in the UK, but that was more on one days. But Stoinis at number 3. Do you think that could work in T20?
I argue, but the problem is like if he's not coming in the power play, if he doesn't come in during the power play, then he's like gonna be the same.
Yeah, it's weird because for a long time I used to think number 3 in 2020 is the same as one days, right? Like you come in, you'll have time, you're the meant to be one of the best players. But
Yeah,
now I'm starting to think you have to be on. If you're not opening, you have to be on the ball very, very quickly. And whether Stoinis can do it is still unknown a little bit. Then our last video, Will kept going on about how he's good at Delhi at doing that now.
yeah,
But I think for now, those 4 people are probably like that's a good selection.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
Maxwell, do you want to say what we were saying about Maxwell?
So the big issue with Maxwell is like obviously he's pretty much the most important player in the team. So if we want to maximize him, where the hell do we bat him? Like statistically, he's very good at number 5, which is the primary like finisher's role. But having seen his recent success at RCB and the middle overs being a persistent problem across all teams, really, should Maxwell bat at 4? And so that's the real question. I think Maxwell's better at 4. I think I really like the way RCB used him because if you look at Australia's squad, we have so many hitters at the back anyway that can take the game away. Yes, Maxwell's the best, but I say Mitch Marsh, Daniel Sams. If you look at those sort of multiplayers, they go hard anyway. They go really hard, and they do clear the boundary whenever you need them to at the end, seemingly. So, and will those players control the game in the middle? Not really. Like Maxwell can lift the game without like elevating his heart rate. It's like second nature to him.
Yeah, a few things. Yeah, I agree. Maxwell at 4, he's definitely had a success for Australia as well. Like he's got a few hundreds, and I think he's got the most hundreds for Australian T20s. He didn't do that well this season, but he does the job for the Stars as well in that sort of role. And just the way he dominates spin, because spin's going to be huge, not only in this series but in the World Cup. It's going to be massive. Um, in the UAE, which is essentially Indian conditions. But yeah, I agree with you there. Yeah. So I have these next two spots question mark because well, most likely one will be a keeper. If Smith's fit, it'll probably be a keeper. And like we said, there's no keepers that have done that. And then number 6 is maybe not because it's a weakness, but just because there's a few options and it's just hard to pick which one. We kind of said it before, but so if number 5 is between a keeper, number 6 would be between Stoinis, Marsh, Christian.
Yep.
So if you want to rank the options, what would you go?
Or Marsh, Stoinis, Christian, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think Stoinis would probably have the priority at this point, considering. Well, actually, I don't know why. He wouldn't, would he? No.
Yeah, I wonder. This is going to be huge because these guys that said no, they're probably going to end up playing the IPL, and I don't know whether they'll cause controversy in the Australian setup that all these guys don't want to play for Australia, but they're willing to play IPL. I don't know if that's an issue, but that did happen, yeah. And then I personally think Marsh is better, but they're pretty 50-50, I'd say. Like on the day, either one can be pretty good.
Yep.
Bowling wise, Marsh may be slightly ahead.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Christian is
arguably Sam's is in there as well.
yeah, and Sam's. I think yeah, I agree. Yeah. The yeah, I don't know. Recently against New Zealand, I said I don't remember much, but I do remember there were times when Agar would come in ahead of Marsh, and I just don't get that.
Yeah, I think Agos batting is overhyped.
Yeah, low key, Cummins at 7 would actually be better. Like the
Yeah,
way Cummins was striking in the IPL,
yeah.
like he got like that 60 one time, and like he's he
He made a
smashes like
shit ton of
Bumrah and
runs
like
and at a
smashes
really good strike rate. Yeah.
he smashes all the best bowlers. Um, okay, and number 5, if it's Smith, I'd go Wade.
Yep.
If it's Wade or Philippi, I wouldn't say the other one goes. Actually, I don't know. Yeah, so maybe Smith. If it's Smith, then it's Wade. If it's Wade, then it's Philippi. Actually, no. If it's
I don't
actually,
think Wade and Philippi will play in the same team.
yeah, actually, if it's Wade at 3, I'm actually gonna go English at 5.
I get that, but just thinking, would you play one of these guys at 5 and not treat them as a bowler?
Yeah, you could, because then you have
Or Henriquez or McDermott?
okay. So I'm gonna. Well, actually, if you do one of those guys, that's 7 bowling options, which is pretty handy. But I'm ruling out Enriquez because it's like in my mind, 4 and 5 are just so different. Like I don't know why. I just clicks to me that 4 and 5 can't be the same type of player. Even though Maxwell's nothing like Enriquez, I don't know. Enriquez at 4, feel like he can play his game, then like kind of accelerate at the end. But number 5, there's more pressure on him, and I feel like I don't. I guess I could check the stats where he batted in the BBL, but I don't know. And then
Henriquez or Maxwell?
McDermott is too low as well at 5. So that's why I like English. But yeah,
Well, I reckon if Henriquez plays, then Maxwell will bat at. No, he won't, will he? Henriquez will bat at 5.
This series will be future Enriquez, I'd say, because it
Yeah.
defined how he can play. Because he hasn't played much yet for Australia.
But I'd say if Henriquez has a good series, that number 5 spot is his.
Yeah, let me check his.
If Smith is unfit.
Let me just check the BBL stats because I don't really remember. We need Will's chart thing. You know how he does that.
Yeah.
Um, Enrique, wait. Sorry, I'll be a sec. What do you think of English?
I think he's good. I think he's a really good player. The problem is, like, is he an opener or is he a number 5? I think for the Scorchers, he showed he's a good number 5, but
Yeah,
one thing playing for the Scorchers, one thing playing for us. So
the reason I think he can do it is because in ODIs he bats at 5. Obviously, it's different, but out of all the keepers we're talking about, he's the most likely middle order player. So like
agreed.
Wade's definitely a top order. Philippi's definitely. Carey's definitely. McDermott's definitely. English at his best is as well, but the fact is that he does the middle the best, in my opinion. And I think it's a matter of time before he's the keeper for Australia. Okay, so Enriquez got he only played 5 games because he was in the test hub, but he averaged 38, strike rate of 155. So not too bad.
Yeah.
Um,
So if we think about it, like who's gonna, in terms of who needs to have a big series to really put themselves in contention, I'd say McDermott, Henriquez, Philippi.
it's actually funny because we put Wade / Philippi, but they're just not going to bat there in this series, which is kind of annoying. Like I put Wade there, but they probably won't actually do that.
I can see Finch moving to 3 and Wade opening, but that's
That's just I don't know, man. Like that could
I
win
can
the
see
game.
Australia doing it. It's like Warner. Remember Warner at 3 and playing Kawaja as an opener?
Yeah, yeah, like the last World Cup was kind of funny because they had to fit in Watson and Kawaja, who are also openers, so they kind of went all over the place with that. And Smith and Maxwell, it was just they just stacked all the best batters.
But wasn't it Kawaja, Watson, Warner as the top 3?
And Finch as well, though. I think it was Finch, Kawaja, Warner, Watson. Like they changed it each game. I'm pretty sure because, like, yeah, that World Cup,
Yeah.
a lot of that team is still similar because they still had Hazelwood and Zampa, Agar. but no Faulkner or Colton are now though.
Yeah.
Um, okay, if we had to go, let's just assume Smith is injured just to make it more interesting, and you pick your those 3, 5, 6. So I'll go Wade, Inglis, Marsh.
I'd go Wade. I'd actually play Marsh and another one of these players, either be Stoinis, Christian, or Sams,
Yeah, I get that as well. I
or
think
Henriquez. But like, yeah. I just think Henriquez at like if you have Wade Maxwell as 3 and 4, Henriquez at 5 isn't a bad shout.
yeah, I get that 100% because I feel like it's so annoying. Wade never gets more than like 30. Like he gets it quickly, but he just gets out.
Which is better than
True.
like
It is
knocking
better
it
than that.
around.
It
Yeah.
is better than that. Yeah, I agree. But Maxwell can be the same person as well in that sense. Like if they both do it, I don't know. It's kind of like here and there. I'm just thinking now. There's 3 other people. I'll just say, well, 2 and then a third, just because I'll say in a sec. So Turner is in the consideration, but we both agree no.
Yep.
Another player, I don't remember. I think he pulled out because COVID, or not COVID, because bubble stuff. But Darcy Short, um, he's probably in the top 3, obviously, than the bottom
But
position.
that would be here though.
That
Yeah.
would be there, which could work, to be fair. But I feel like he's never been able to convert his BBL form into international form. And then on social media, this is a bit random, but I always see Indians are like, oh, how come Australia don't consider Chris Lynn? But like, he's just not it.
Kristen's not. Yeah, he's
Like,
not.
okay, you could say, oh, Wade, Short, whatever. Their stats might not be the best for Australia, but Lynn just is not going to click. Like, I just feel like
Yeah.
he's good, but yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. Yeah,
Yeah.
short maybe, but like he needed this tour he needed to play this tour. I don't know why he isn't, but yeah. Do you have any thoughts on
Yeah.
Darcy?
If like Shaw's not gonna play, not gonna be in the World Cup squad if he's not playing. Yeah.
Let me check. Why he's not?
Because that immediately puts Wade and Philippi ahead of him in the opening position as batters.
Yeah, and
Like
McDermott almost as
immediately.
well.
And McDermott, yeah.
Okay, here. It just says Short is just not in the squad. So Short was originally there. I think apparently he's playing Blast or whatever as well. To be fair.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much everyone in the frame. Yeah. Then we'll go into bowler. So Agar and Zampa, no question marks.
Commons, no question mark.
Stark, we'll assume he plays well and he locks it in. He missed the last 2020 World Cup, but he was gone in the one day World Cup. If I had to pick third, even though Hazelwood is underrated, I'd say I'd actually still go with Jai Richardson.
That's interesting. I haven't even thought about Jai Richardson.
I just like him. Like I feel like he's gonna play a lot for Australia, so like they should put him in. Wait,
Obviously, the other pick is Hazelwood.
there's Hazelwood, and then
Technically, Kane Richardson as well.
Kane, even though I don't like him. And then Riley, and I'd say Riley and Sams, and I'd say Berendorf and Ty and whoever Agar, they're not going to be in the World Cup squad. They're just here for now. Like everyone who we wrote will probably be in the squad because they're taking a big squad. But yeah,
Yeah,
who would you go? Still Hazelwood?
Hazelwood.
Yeah, I reckon Will would say Hazelwood as well. I don't know. I feel like this might be kind of stretching it, but the common Stark Hazelwood, I feel like can get tonked sometimes as a trio. I don't know what. Like I just feel like they're not it anymore.
Yeah, I was thinking that, but I'm just thinking like if you look at every other attack around the world, I think I said this. Like we have the top two bowling units. We're in the top two.
Yeah.
So like
I
every
don't, I
team,
can't. I don't know if we can find the stat, but when's the last time that those three played a T20 together? Like, or have they played a T20 together? I don't even know.
we
Um,
probably haven't to be honest. Because Cummins came onto the scene in white ball cricket when Stark and Hazel stopped playing
yeah, and then
T20.
I remember 2019 when they smashed Pakistan and Sri Lanka. Kane played, not Josh Hazelwood.
Yeah.
Um, Hazelwood has played. Actually, let's look at their stats because I feel like it's kind of like I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
okay.
I think if you ignore stats, Hazelwood's like an 80% pick.
So Hazelwood's only played 9 T20s. Um, he hasn't done that well. He hasn't done well so far. No, he goes at 9 and over, averages 36. But like he hasn't played many. He barely played. Stark's played 35 games, averages 19 in this under 7 and over. That's quality.
Yeah. He's
But
just
he
not that anymore.
but, but it's 35 games in 9 years.
Yeah, but those stats aren't reflective of him now anyway.
True. And then
I don't think Cummins' stats would be that good.
Cummins has played 30 games, 20 average, and same economy as Stark, just under 7, 6.9. And he last played in the England series. So actually the England series they would have played together, I think. Let me just check. Um
The England series, like all the big players would have played, right?
yeah, I remember that was like a huge big tour. Low key, I reckon max two of them should play, and I feel like the third should just be some like kind of under the radar player. Like Jai is a little bit under the radar, and he can just be more effective. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I got what you mean. I get what you mean.
But I still wouldn't go Kane because I just don't like him.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
The thing is, Finch like rates him, so like there's a
Everyone,
high chance of every
the whole
second.
setup does. They could go Sam's as an aggressive death bowler and batter,
I don't.
and then Riley is just pure pace.
I don't think Sam's will be an out and out bowler. I think Sam. If they pick Sam's, it'll be a sixth bowling option.
Yeah, but if they go, let's say they go Marsh and Stoinis, and then they could do Sam's because then you have Maxwell already as well. So then you just have to get 4 overs between Maxwell, Marsh, Stoinis, and Sam's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. There's much to say because, like, statistically, we all know, like, none of them really have any sort of experience. Richardson's had a good big bash, but he tailed off at the end. Hazelwood, like, doesn't really have much T20s at all.
okay. I finally got it up. So yeah, in England they went Stark, Cummins, Kane, game one, and then Stark, Cummins, Kane, game two, and then Stark, Hazelwood, Kane in game three. So it seems like they just really rate Kane.
Well, Finch said that Cambridge, he thought Kane Richardson was one of the best death bowlers in the world.
So looking at Kane's, he's got average 24, and his economy is 7.9. So he's a little bit more expensive than Stark. And
Well, that's the thing. I think if
I mean,
Kane
stats
Richardson
wise,
played,
he's actually a lot better than Hazelwood, but he's still not close to Cummins and Stark, which is probably fair. If you think about Hazelwood's the most vulnerable out of the three, right?
yeah, definitely. I think it's interesting because if Kane Richardson plays, he's going to bowl in the death overs. Stark and Cummins won't. One of Stark or Cummins won't finish the game off.
I actually can't imagine them playing Kane, to be honest.
Like I'm pretty sure. Now thinking about it, I thought 80% Hazelwood. I'd say 50-50 between Hazelwood and Kane Richardson. I don't think Jai Richardson's in the picture really. I think he'll be in the squad,
I
but I
think
think he'll be
Jai,
there
yeah,
like for the boys.
Jai just had a great BBL. That's the only reason.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. I think he'll be a bit like Sanger. He'll be in the squad. Obviously,
Yeah,
Sanger won't be in the World Cup squad,
I
but
hope Sanger's in the squad, but he might not. I don't think they might not want to pick four spinners.
yeah. Well, yeah, Jai Richardson is not, yeah, not really going to be in the frame, in my opinion. I think Meredith would be over Jai Richardson, surely, in
Nah,
Australian setup.
I disagree.
But I disagree with that as well, but I think he is.
Like you
Like,
disagree with no, I
you
disagree.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I still think he's not. He's not as in he shouldn't be, and also he's not. He actually isn't in real life. Like
Oh, okay. You reckon? Yeah.
because Jai still played tests and stuff. Like they know Jai is good, and
No, I mean in T20s.
I know, but even in
Meredith's
T20,
played a lot of,
no, but even
played
because of that,
recently.
I'm just saying because of that rep, Jai has kind of earned it more over Riley.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
And I like the 11 or 12 Graw, however many it was, has to play on their minds. Like, IPL shouldn't make a difference, but they know that the world rates Jai. To be fair, Punjab spend a load on both of them, but yeah, that's a whole other thing. But yeah, okay, let me just look at the stats for the series. So Jai did play all five. This is against New Zealand. He played all 5 games. He got 4 wickets. He went at 8.7 and over though. And then Riley went at 7.5. He also picked up 4 wickets and bowled 5 less overs. So Riley did bowl better. But yeah, it's probably a 50. Yeah, I'd say you're right. 50-50 between Hazelwood and Kane, but I still like Jai as well. I'd like to say it's a third each,
Yeah.
even though, yeah, yeah,
I don't think there's anything more to say about Australia's team, really.
yeah. I mean, for now,
But now,
that's all.
anyway, I
Yeah,
think, yeah, like in terms of who needs a big series, I think it's clear that players like Philippe, McDermott, Henriquez
yeah.
need a big series.
I mean, like almost the whole batting and then the three quicks, whoever the three quicks are, but whoever they are needs to play well.
Yeah.
Batting,
'Cause I'd say like unless Wade majorly fucks it, like Wade is gonna be the starting
I
keeper.
feel like Carey might still get a chance actually because they'll rotate. Like they only have Carey and Turner on the bench for batters. So they'll rotate.
And yeah.
And then Christian as well. Um, I think in an ideally Marsh locks himself, and then Wade bangs. I think that's the best case. And obviously, you want everyone to play well, but yeah, just thinking about it realistically.
Yeah. If Finch doesn't fire, then I don't know. I think he needs another series to back up his New Zealand effort.
Like, but if does that mean Maxwell would captain or Wade? That's a whole other thing.
Yeah, let's that is because that's very interesting. If Finch doesn't do well, big questions asked. I think he will, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what Finch has like every other series he's in bad form.
Weird.
I mentioned at this there's also the ODI series, but we haven't really talked about it because ODIs are kind of dead right now.
Yeah, there's no relevance to the
Yeah.
World
Well,
Cup,
if it's
which
not,
every team is focused on.
yeah, no team really. Australia have the exact same squad. It'll probably be a very similar 11, and then West Indies have a different cohort, like kind of. They have like Roston Chase and Shea Hope and stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
they'll just remove like two of their hitters.
yeah.
Like, yeah,
And that I think Australia were the better side in that as well.
yeah.
Um, that will be. I mean, the death bowling and death batting will still be interesting for that. And
I
just
think the ODIs, in terms of cricket, the ODIs would be a lot better to watch than T20 than the T20s.
I don't
But
know.
I think that's just normal.
Yeah, man.
Like
Yeah,
the more cricket, the better.
yeah. Probably right. Anyway, I think um that's pretty much all we can milk out of this video.
Yep.
Anyway, thanks guys. I hope you enjoyed it. To Warren and I, we both got this Aussie boys coming through. We might have a review coming up, but yeah, thank you.
So yeah.